Hey everybody, welcome to my office. I welcome you into this sacred space because I want to chat a bit about the way things are shaken down in PvP this season after the most recent update 7.35, which sort of rewrote the ground rules for PvP, how things function, how much player health we have, special ammo, all of that stuff. And part of that update, they talked about some minor changes to matchmaking, talked about implementing some new changes to the way that it balances teams. But it became pretty apparent to me right out of the gate that something just was off, not functioning properly. And we've been in this new sandbox long enough now that I have seen enough consistency that I'm starting to get concerned. I'm starting to say, oh, hold up, something ain't right. And so today, I would like to bring up some of the things that I'm seeing and experiencing. I want to corroborate it with your experience, but I've seen enough consistency on my end that I'm starting to notice a trend. Now, as we tee this video off, I do want to make a quick disclaimer. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I'm actually really enjoying the new sandbox. I think the changes have been really good overall. There's some nitpicky things I have, but as a whole package, I'm really vibing with the new sandbox. And I've been having a ton of fun posting content, builds, weapon reviews, all that. So thanks so much for supporting that content. I certainly don't want to be a negative Nancy here, but I do have some concerns, and I'd love for you guys to corroborate your experiences as I talk about mine in the comments below. Let's get into it. So there are two fronts here I want to talk about today. One is the matchmaking, and one is the lobby balancing. And I think that we've got issues on both sides of this. And let me be clear, I don't think these are intentional, because the way that devs have described, and I've talked to devs about this, the way that they've described the system as it is designed to function sounds right. It sounds good. It sounds proper. And I don't have any complaints really with the way that they have designed things to function right now. What I do have an issue with is it's just not functioning properly. It's not doing what they say it's supposed to do. If it did what they said it's supposed to do, I think I'd be fine with it. But that's just simply not been my experience. I'm going to show you today with some screenshots, some stories, analogies, all that stuff. So let's start with the matchmaking. So we have a couple of different playlists. We've got the Supremacy playlist right now because of Guardian Games. That's up. That's purely connection-based matchmaking, which means it's just going to grab 12 people. It's going to find 12 people that have a decent connection with each other and just grab them all together in the same lobby. Then it's going to divvy up the teams and start the match. Now, I'm having issues with the matchmaking, not just there, but also in Control. I had the same issue in both playlists, whether it is connection-based matchmaking or it is Control, by the way, now is supposed to be outlier protection. So they've basically done away with strict skill-based matchmaking. Right now, what we have in Control is something that I've actually been advocating for a long time, and that is variable skill lobbies with exceptions. We need to keep the extremes away from each other. So that's outlier protection, where a 10 and a 1 should never cross paths. And, a 9 and a 2 even. So there's a lot of play in there. But ideally, the way that it's set up to function right now is that you're going to have a lobby that has variable skill levels represented. And that skill level is going to hop around from match to match. Sometimes you'll be on the upper end, sometimes you'll be on the lower end, but usually you're going to be somewhere in the middle. But it is designed to keep the outliers away so that they don't get completely stomped in a match where a guy that's brand new to the game is going to be playing against a 10-year veteran. You know what I'm saying? On paper, that sounds great. But both in Control and in Supremacy, I'm having these issues where matchmaking is not finding 12 people. It's just not finding 12 people. I had 3 matches in a row yesterday that started as 4v4s. They did not start as 6v6s and 2 people saw the map and didn't like it and left. That's not what it did. It got to 8 out of 12 and it sat there for several minutes, and eventually the game was like, well, let's just run it. Whatever. We don't have full lobby, but let's just run it. And so it started the match as a 4v4. That happened 3 times in a row. And I thought, hey, maybe it's just the time that I'm queuing. Maybe since I do a lot during the work hours of the day, player numbers are down. Maybe that's why it's struggling. But even then, you should, within several minutes, be able to find 12 players in a game as big as Destiny. Right? Well, to sort of fact check that assumption and to workshop it a bit, I went ahead and I played a lot in the evening times when most gamers are home. They've already finished their dinner. They want to sit down, have some leisurely gaming time, try out their new gun they got over Trials Weekend or whatever it may be. And what happened was, in prime time hours, when the biggest chunk of the PvP community is online, I literally got an error code because I sat in a queue for 15 minutes. I will show you the screenshot on screen, and this is the error code it gives you, and it basically just says, we couldn't find people. Like, sorry. And so, I mean, it's a real feels bad as a gamer. You want to get online, you want to play a match, you want to try out a new gun, you want to try out a new build. You've got a limited amount of time to do that with. And we're all, well, I'm assuming, you know, looking at the analytics of my channel, most of you are adult working class people. Like, the amount of spare time we have is pretty limited at times. I mean, we're scraping the barrel to try and find a few minutes here and a few minutes there to invest in ourselves and do our own leisurely activities. It really sucks, frankly, to sit there for 15 minutes of your day, 15 precious minutes of your time that gets wasted. You get a message like this and says, look, man, we couldn't do it. We just couldn't find anybody. Sorry. You're just going to have to re-queue, maybe try a different playlist. And that happened both last night. That happened both in connection-based matchmaking supremacy and outlier protection matchmaking control. The two biggest playlists where most of the community should be playing, and it simply could not find people. And the thing that's confusing about that is you go to third-party API tracking websites and you look up, you're like, well, how many people are playing right now? And it shows you a number and you're like, that's a lot more than 12. I should be able to find a match. It doesn't compute. And that's why I think this is unintentional. I think there's something going on behind the scenes that needs to be investigated, because I think something just is, a wire's in the wrong spot or something. I don't know. A light bulb's not screwed all the way, and they're going to give it a little bit of a twist, and then everything will just pop back on and be fixed. I know it's not that simple, but I think something's just a little bit off. And along those lines, I'm also having this issue where before the update, team-based matchmaking was doing a great job, in my opinion. It was doing a great job at keeping stacks and solos separate within the same playlist. You know, it was, I don't know that this entire season up until the update, I don't know that there's been a single time, and I play a lot of quick play a lot of sixes. I don't think there's a single time I have matched a full team of 6 that I can recall as a solo player. But it's happening now. I've matched multiple 6 stacks in Control, not just Supremacy, in the Control playlist. And I don't think that's supposed to happen that often. Maybe I'm just getting unlucky, but it does feel like I'm matching a lot more pre-made fire teams, and that's leading to some pretty big blowouts. And I do actually like team-based matchmaking. I think it is proper if you have a team of greater than 3. If you've got 4, 5, or 6 people in your fire team, I think it is very fair to say, well, you should probably be playing against other pre-made fire teams, whether it's 3 teams of 2, 2 teams of 3, or another stack the size of yours. I think that's appropriate. Then obviously if it's a team of 4 and then they match a team of 4, there has to be a couple of solos in there to fill out the lobby, and that's totally fine. If that were to happen, I'd be like, hey, that makes sense. But when I'm matching stacks, a lot of times my team is entirely built from solo players. It's 6 solo players against a stack of 4 and a 2, or a 3 and a 3, and it's like, shouldn't that maybe be mixed up a little bit? I don't know. So I'm also having issues with the team-based matchmaking, which my understanding was that was supposed to persist. I didn't see anything in the patch notes about them dropping that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please do so. But I didn't think they were going to drop that feature. I thought most people were on board with it. Okay, now let's move on to lobby balancing. Now, a lot of people get matchmaking and lobby balancing confused and mixed up. So let me just real quick recap what those are. So matchmaking is the function of getting 12 players, right? How do we find these 12 players? What are the parameters? What are the rules? Who's eligible to be in this lobby and who is not eligible to be in this lobby? That's matchmaking, getting 12 people together. Lobby balancing is then after matchmaking has done its job and got ourselves a lobby. Then it's going to say, what's the best fair way to divvy up these teams? I need 6 to go to this side and 6 to go to this side. Let's do some math. Let's crunch some numbers and find out the way to do that that's the most fair and makes the most sense. That's lobby balancing. Now, the issue I'm having here with lobby balancing is that we were told that it's going to implement a sort of ladder system, okay? A snake draft of sorts. And basically what that means is it's going to take, imagine you're in gym class, and you got the 2 captains up there, and they're looking at the class. And the guy that gets to go first, obviously he takes the fastest kid in the class. You're on my team, okay? And then the other guy's like, man, I really wanted that guy. Well, I'll take Jimmy. He's the second fastest. He's in terms of being athletic, he's second best in the class. Get over on my team. Then it goes back to the first guy, and he's like, well, obviously I'm going to take whoever the best is left over in the pack. They're coming to my team. So on and so forth. So it's always the best gets taken out of the pack first. And so it's, offsetting each other's skill a little bit. That's what a snake draft is, basically. So we're supposed to have something sort of like that, but I'm going in and I'm examining my lobbies. That's not happening. It's not even close to happening. It's so monumentally one-sided in so many of these lobbies. I had like a 6-loss streak yesterday. And I'm fine with losing, don't get me wrong. It's solo. I'm playing solo in 6s, big deal. I don't really care about whether I'm winning a game or losing a game. But what I do care about is not standing a chance. You know what I mean? And I had 6 games in a row where I did not stand a chance. Like, I was expected to basically... I would have had to get a 60 bomb if we were going to have a chance at winning that match. Which is, not something I can do consistently and reliably, as much as I hate to admit it. But I'll show you one of the lobbies in the midst of that loss streak. And you can just see here, this does not make sense. Like, you're looking at this lobby, and that just does not make sense. You see my team, I ended up with 22 kills in this match, 22 defeats. And that's because I was fighting such a huge uphill battle. You look at the remainder of my team, you've got one guy who went 0 kills and 15 deaths. You've got the other 3 that stayed in the lobby, all single digits in terms of kills during that match, 8, 7, and 7. They were in for the entire duration of that match, by the way, all the way to the end. And you look at the other team, we've got 32 kills, 27 kills, 24 kills, 18 kills, 13 kills. 5 people on the enemy team outperformed my entire team. That's not right. It just doesn't compute. Now, if we were to look at that lobby here, let's have a look at this lobby, okay? So you can see here total kills and deaths. My overall KD for that game was a 1.33, which is not that great. But obviously I felt like I was getting hounded. I was trying to get out on the map, trying to pick up the crest. And, I'd be completely outnumbered every time I went out there. Other than me, you've got a 0.3, 0.28, 0.4. One guy, not a single kill. He was in for the full duration, died 15 times, not a kill to his name. And our last guy, he was in there initially. I think he just saw that it was disjunction and probably was like, I think I'm going to pass. Which, can I really fault him? I don't think so. At that point, it's like, listen, Bungie, we've been telling you we hate this map. And some of us are just going to leave it whenever we see it. Maybe it's time to take the L and just ditch the map. Like, it's a great Rift map. Outside of that, that's what it was designed for. Outside of that, the map's not good, doesn't play good. People don't generally like it. Take the L. Take it out. Anyways, neither here nor there. But you see how skewed this lobby was. And if we're talking about a snake draft system, I wrote down some notes. I went and I did a little research on each of these players. I want to break this down for you. And you can see how a snake draft, there's no feasible way that's what happened in this lobby. No matter how you spin it, you look at this objectively, there's not a chance in heck that there was actually some actual thought given to the way that these teams got balanced. On my team, apart from me, you have, and I'm going to use trial stats as a sort of litmus test, because obviously that's an endgame PvP activity. That's where I think it really reflects on your skill as an individual player to get eliminations, stay alive, win matches. So within the context of Trials of Osiris, you look at my team. First guy up on the list, he's got a 0 point, and this isn't meant to like shame anybody on my team, by the way. I want to be clear about that. I'm not criticizing anybody on my team. They didn't choose to be in that lobby. They didn't choose to have the match that one-sided, lopsided against them. If anything, they're more victims here than I am, because I'm still able to perform at least somewhat admirably under the conditions. They were not, and it's because they didn't stand a chance. But you look at the way this is balanced. We got a lot of fresh players here. One guy, he's never been flawless. He's got a 0.28 KD in Trials of Osiris. He's basically a quadruple negative player. For every 1 kill, he dies 4 times in Trials of Osiris. And he's played a fair amount. He's given it a shot. No shame. Again, no shame. That's just where he is in terms of skill. We got another player on my team, a 0.78 KD in Trials of Osiris. He's gotten flawless a couple of times. But again, we're looking at a not very seasoned player. Then we got a guy, I'm not going to shame him. He went 15 deaths. No kills, 15 deaths. If you were to look at his Trials stats, in the last 4 Trials matches that he's played, he has 0 kills to his name. 4 matches. Not a single kill, not a single assist even. So he's at least he's consistent. And finally, we've got the lever on my team, which I think maybe the lobby was trying to say, hey, this guy could probably help carry this lobby. I mean, still, it's a 1.3 KD in Trials. So he's not like some massive slayer or anything. Respectable, a decent player, 1.3 KD in Trials. He's gone flawless several times. So a decently talented player right there, but gone. You know, didn't stick around, which does suck. That is a factor. I'm not going to ignore that. I think that obviously does affect the way that this match played out. The one guy that could have potentially played okay there was he left the lobby. But even you think about him staying, I don't think this changes anything. Other than we'll have a little bit higher score because he probably got a few kills in there. But I think maybe he would have been good for 12 if I were to make a prediction based off of his stats. That would not have swung the lobby. It wouldn't have swung the match or had any significant impact. But we look at the enemy team here, and follow me on this. If we're continuing to use Trials as a litmus test, and a reminder, on my team, we've got a 0.2 KD in Trials, 0.7, 0.8, one guy that can't get a kill in Trials. We look at their team, we got a 1.36 KD in Trials, which is better than my best teammate, the Lever, right? 1.36 KD in Trials, been flawless several times. Like 81 flawless cards to date. We got another guy, 1.72 in Trials. 34 flawless is pretty good in that environment. So 1.72 KD, not KAD, by the way. KD, that's very respectable in Trials of Osiris. Another guy, 1.65 KD, 185 flawlesses on their team, right? And then we have a couple of guys that are negative, like my teammates in Trials, 0.5s in Trials. So there's a couple players on their team not great in Trials either. And then one of them is doesn't play Trials, so there's really no data to go off of there. He's just a quick play player. But anyways, you look at, even if you just sideline the trial stats and you look at the elo ratings here alone, there's no way that was a snake draft. There's no way it was anywhere close to a snake draft. But yeah, if you do a pure ladder system or a pure snake draft system, this lobby looks extremely different. Or how about this one? This one's even worse. This was like, I think this was the very next match. And you look at the elos on the other team and you look at my team. I got half my team isn't even at 1,000. Half my team is 966 is the best and below. Enemy team 1,800, 1,700, 1,300, 1,100, 1,200. What even is that? How is that gonna go any differently than it just did? It just does not compute. There's no way. It didn't work. It didn't work. So all this to say, something ain't right, y'all. At the end of the day, we have a system that is not reliably getting 12 players together, even during peak gaming hours. And we're wasting a lot of time with long queues, error codes, not getting games to start. Games are starting 4v4. And then beyond that, once we do get players in the lobby, the game is not able to consistently make fair choices about how to divvy up the teams, which is leading to snowballing and a lot of people ultimately leaving matches. And it's not even able to backfill them, by the way. Most of the time, if I have a lever on my team, even at the beginning, you take that disjunction match. For example, 12 players started as a 6v6. Immediately before the first kill was scored, one of my teammates leaves. It never filled. So he left at the very beginning of the match, 0 kills, and never filled him. It was a 5v6 for the rest of the time. It can't even get a single player to round out the lobby when people do leave. Something is amiss. And I would love to hear information from you guys. This is consistent for me. This is every session that I have. It's live on streams. I can't lie about it. I can't fabricate it. You can go back and you can look up the information for yourself. We're talking full-length matches that go to time. Never able to find 4 more players to round out the lobby. Starts as a 4v4, ends as a 4v4. More matches like this. Half my team under 1,000 elo. Enemy team all 1,000 and above. Doesn't make sense. Snake draft ain't happening. Same gaming session, 5v5. Couldn't find players to fill out the lobby. Couldn't be a 6v6. Started as a 5v5, ended as a 5v5. So hopefully Bungie can spare some time to maybe look under the hood, because it's happening enough that I believe sincerely something's happening underneath the hood that is not accounted for, that is not intended. And I think it's having a real impact on the way it is undeniably, for me and my experience, having a sincere impact on the way these games play, and not for the better. Matches are lopsided, queues are long, error codes are persistent. Even during peak gaming hours, I'm not able to fill a full lobby with players to play a standard 6v6 match. And it's a real shame because, frankly, I am enjoying the new sandbox. And so I don't want to just be a Debbie Downer. I have been having a lot of fun in the new sandbox. I've been posting a lot of content, really enjoying doing weapon reviews and builds and all that sort of stuff. And I really do appreciate all the support that you guys have shown on my channel in the past couple of weeks as we do that. It means a lot to me. But for the sake of the game, I think we got to take a look under the hood. Thanks so much for tuning into the video today. If you have had similar experiences, would you let me know in the comments section? I appreciate all the feedback there that can maybe help steer them in the right direction as we corroborate our stories and get some uniformity in reporting our experiences collectively as a community. Thank you so much for your time and support. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible. Bye-bye.